Tom, do you have a wild fork by you? It's like a seafood. It's like a high-end-ish seafood. I guess they do like game meats.
It's all any animal flesh. I've seen one. It's on the nearest one's Belmont and Western. I don't like driving there, and I don't really ever need their products. But I know, like, if I ever needed like a pheasant, wild forks for me. So yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, if you need to impress our Harvest Moon girl, and you need to bring her a single pheasant, and then her heart goes up.
I'll hold a full pheasant over my head, and run it towards the farmer girl. Yes.
The issue, there's one by me. I've never been in it. The issue is, Tom, I drive by it a lot, and it is located in what used to be a bank with a drive-through. I'm curious what this information does to your brain when I tell you, because like
pneumatic tubes.
Yeah, like
it does.
Like, I want to call the people. Like, you ever put a fish through that sucker? Like, you know it works. It does work. I know it works.
Talk about like a lost world that like only exists in my memory. Pneumatic tube. First of all, going to the bank as a thing you had to do, wild. Second of all, when you go to the bank, the thing you have to do involves like physical objects moving from one place to the other. I'm like, I can't even think of what sort of bank activity would require that.
The fish bank. Yeah, you need something at the fish bank. You're making a withdrawal.
You say, one fish, please. And they put a fish in there, and it's like it's alive again. But then you get it, and it's like, no, it's just meat. It's for eating for dinner.
And I just need everyone who's ever worked there to just say if they thought about it. Not that they did it, but like, has it crossed their mind? Like, they've seen it. They know what's inside.
I mean, I have to feel like the human imagination, even in the most dire situations, has the spark of God enough in it that if you have fish and meat and a big tube that makes something go phew, that you're thinking about, like, you're going to put a little piece of meat like Mario, and it's going to go down through. Like, you have to.
You know what still uses tubes? It has not fallen off for them. Hospitals do it for a medication disbursement inside the hospital. And like, I remember when I was having my bad brain time, and I like went to get the medicine, and I saw it come out of the tube. I was like, oh, can I like stay here and stare at that? Not for mental health reasons, but for like autism reasons. But it was very cool.
Honestly, if you work at that Wild Fork and you're not like after hours, I know you can't do it during work, but like after hours, send a couple of pieces of meat through there just for like fun with your buds.
Like, the guy on the other side could even dress up like an angler. It could be fun. He could have his bucket ready. It would actually, the people would be really impressed, because they would see an angler walking around and they'd see huge ass fish, and they'd be like, what?
This is like they say this Wild Fork place is a wonderland where meat and fish comes to me in a way, and I can tell the quality because there's tubes involved. The coolest thing in the world. They make a funny sound, and it's like from BioShock, like someone did the puzzle, and now the turret is shooting at the bad guys. And you know what it is, Joe? It's like these days, modern life is so goddamn gray. You need
a tube.
These little bits of joy.
You need a tube. The theme of BioShock is that you shouldn't trust an Irish person on the phone. Like, that's no good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's a podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we take a look at the four pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko.
We're gonna kick it off with a rare segment that's one of the most beloved. I'm going to put the bumper now, and you'll know exactly what I mean. Cat. Cat. It's cat talk.
So at the top of this, I would like to address something that different people have said to me, which is like, oh, when you have a kid, it's going to change how you feel about your cats. Not at all true, because they're like, cats are like little freaks that should be worshipped. Like, I get why religion in Egypt kind of had them as a central figure, because they're cool and fun.
Yeah.
My son, I want him to like get better at stuff. My cat, the cats, I don't want them to improve really ever. I just don't want them to, get sick. So what has happened is the cats have like kind of ascertained that, okay, that baby guy is going to be around. Like he's here for the long haul. Mm-hmm. And they are like, I used to be baby, like it was us. And one of the things I've been trying to do is like, okay, we need to re-engage, we need to play with them more. But they also don't like their old stuff. Like one of the things I always do with Ariel is that there's like these colored puff balls that came with a very stupid cowboy gun that I throw, and she fetches and brings them to me.
Yeah.
She wants more attention and is also over those. And that was like her go-to thing, you know what I mean? Roman similarly.
Puff balls have fallen off, yeah.
Yeah, like they don't care about the wand as much anymore. Like they engage a little bit, but like they need like that thing to make them go nuts. And the closest thing has been like the cat dancer, which is just like a big wire that has like a piece of cardboard on it. But we need a plan.
You know what actually works is hiding, like putting the toy away. Like if you put away all the puffballs, like where they can't see them for like a month or two, you bring those out, that's a new toy. Like that is and it's a new toy, and the cats like it. Like we do that with Lucy, and we'll bring out like a wand we haven't played. If the wand fell off, we put the wand away for a couple months, we bring it back, she's like, oh, and she goes nutty over it. Lucy also does a very cute thing, so because we put all of her toys in like in a toy bin, like a little wicker basket. And this is how we like hide them, because we just put them in there and never bring them out. And then we have the ones that are out, but then there's like the stash. There's sometimes when she's in like a mood and we don't want to play with her because it's boring, she will go into her toy bin and like pull something out. It's the cutest thing ever.
Oh, gimme.
So yeah, the toy bin. Put it. I'm serious. Give it a try.
Okay. The other thing is they like also really like hanging out with the baby, which is fun. Like right now we call it jail. He has a play area with bars. It's jail. It's there's toys in there, but like he'll be in there and the cats will be posting up outside, like just hanging out. Like they will like anchor where they are based on his location, which is very cute. Mm-hmm. And they haven't been like reaching through to poke him or anything. They just like hanging out, like family time. Yeah, that aspect of it has been very good. I just I have negative complaints as far as cat baby interaction. Like Roman came up to Ivan when I was feeding him on the bed and gave him a little nose boop, and Ivan did like a big like smile and was like just overjoyed about it, and that about made it all worth it.
Yeah. Oh.
At daycare, they have a wall where you bring pictures of your pets so the kids can see them, and he's now recognizing Ariel and Roman like that's that. Like he's excited about it when he sees them, which is super cute.
God.
Yeah,
brain growth.
Yeah, but the issue is, in the meantime, I got to figure out enrichment activities for these cats. One of the earlier toys we bought, and this was obviously very pre-Ivan, was like one of those treat boxes that are like, it's a puzzle and they have to push knobs and stuff to get stuff. It was called the Brain Mover, which is such a good name.
Oh my God.
But they didn't care. And it wasn't like they didn't get it. Like they got it, but they were like, this isn't worth the effort. This sucks.
Yeah. I do not want my brain to move. I am famously a cat. My brain is still. I do not use this shit because why would I?
We did buy a leash for Roman because you had a success story with getting Lucy on a leash on your roof deck. So, like, yeah, we had a little bit of jealousy. I think we're going to try that. Ariel will not be interested, but Roman might be because he already goes out on the balcony to look at a leaf.
That's actually, I want to talk about that a little bit. Lucy, yeah, we have a little leash for Lucy. And we were kind of nervous about taking her out onto our new roof deck because last time we put the leash on Lucy and took her out in our old apartment, she liked it so much.
It ruined her brain. She got fucked up.
Yeah, so she would, at all hours of the day, be at the back door, howling as loud as possible. And, like, at that point, there's only two options you have as a cat owner. Number one is you got to take the cat out at, like, the same time every day forever. And if you skip a day, know that she will do this again.
Okay, but that's like a dog.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. I would have gotten a dog if I wanted to do that, and I don't. And the other way to deal with this is, and this is what we did do, and it works, but it feels like driving a nail into your head, which is you just do not react to the cat at all. And after about 2 weeks, their brain will forget why they're yelling, and so they'll just stop. If you react ever,
it resets
even to be like,
clock.
Shut up. Yes, they're like, this works. And it resets the 2-week clock. So we did not want to do that shit again. But she really, really wanted to go up on the roof. And we're like, oh, okay. So we put the little leash on her. She's so good about getting her leash on. But here's the funny thing. She always wants to go up there. She's always, whenever we go on the roof deck, she's on the other side of the door. Like, can I go? When the time comes to, like, be like, let's go, Lucy. Let's put on your leash. We're giving you the thing you want. Joe, it's hilarious. She is so fucking scared. She has no idea what to do. I'll put the leash on her. We'll go up. She's so excited. I open the door, and she just won't go. She's just frozen. And sometimes I'll pick her up, and I'll take her outside. And it's like, usually her tolerance for being picked up is super low. Like, I've worked very hard to build enough trust and love with her that she will let me pick her up for maybe about 10 seconds before she's like, put me down. When she's outside, she clings to me. Like, she like, please don't put me down because, like, you're the safe thing. Man, I wish there was a hawk around. It wouldn't be so many fucking pigeons. I'm thinking about, like, maybe I should take up falconry. That would put an end to this bullshit. Anyway, she's just terrified. It's so funny. Like, she can't stand it, and yet she still wants to go out every time. Cats, man, they're cute as hell.
Roman is on a steroid for his tummy because we tried to get pet insurance for him a while ago, and it was so funny because it was like, oh, he has a ooky tummy. Well, we're sending a hitman right now, to take care of him. But he's on a little mouth dropper of a steroid, which he's going to a specialist on Wednesday. We just had a call for an emergency refill because in the process of filling up the little syringe, the stopper came out, and I spilled it fucking everywhere. And when we called, they're like, you shouldn't need a refill because you have like a 90-day supply. And it's like, yeah, but like it doesn't matter how long the supply was if I fucking dropped it.
I'm sure that when that happened, you took it with good grace and did not think of it as a symptom of a larger pattern.
I just yelled fuck a bunch. What happened is I just yelled fuck.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah. Man, is he cool with taking it? Because that really is like, a cat that'll take a medicine is wow.
Yeah, he's good. I think it's largely in part because the medicine is supposed to be given with food anyway. I give it to him at like noonish when he takes his tube treat. Mm-hmm. Is like a disgusting cat Go-Gurt thing.
The cat Go-Gurt rules.
And I have been waiting for him to finish the Go-Gurt before I blast him with the medicine, but like he doesn't run away. He accepts it. I've also like given him the medicine mid Go-Gurt, and he's like, fuck. Anyway, back to the Go-Gurt. Yeah. So it's clearly not a deal breaker. But he's good. He's my special dude. He's a little fellow.
He is little. He needs to bulk up. When we had to give Lucy hates taking medicine, and perhaps the worst I've ever felt in my life is she had like ear mites. The classic cat itchy ear. And they're like, we've seen this a billion jillion times. You just got to give her these drops twice a day for a week, and then it'll be all better. And so these drops say, keep in refrigerator at all times, exclamation points. And so what this means is that twice a day, we have to become history's greatest villains. We have to become Dead by Daylight villains and stalk Lucy and drip ice water directly onto her brain. And for those 2 weeks and beyond, she would see it honestly felt like my heart was getting torn out of me. Every time I would approach, either of us would approach, she would react like the devil was coming to take her soul to hell. And man, that was the worst. That was one of the worst times of my life.
I hated cutting the cat's nails, not because of the potential for them scratching or whatever, because Winnie and I had to do it together. It's a 2-person job sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I was always kicking the can on it is just they make the "you're killing me" sound, just
Yes.
I'm forever scarred, and it's just bite me, please,
Yeah.
just
Yes,
rip off my finger. Do not make that sound though.
Oh, kitty cats. Kitty cats. I love kitty cats.
Never been horny. Never been horny. Don't tell the paper that I ever got horny.
There's a joke we say every time, almost every single time we record a podcast, almost every single time we have a guest.
If a microphone is involved, basically.
Yeah, and we told this joke so many times. I think it was the genesis of an incredible idea, a concept that Joe came up with that we're going to explore now, calling it best in slot. Joe, if someone doesn't know what best in slot means, can you let them know?
Yeah, so this is still the case for all those gear grinding games, but best in slot I am referring to as the MMO term. What that means is, as you know, MMOs of you get to max level, and that's actually when the game starts, because now you're going to spend 100,000 hours trying to get pants or something, and that's what it's about. But for people doing that end game stuff, you could get a piece of equipment that is just where the game is at currently. There is nothing else better that you could possibly equip in this slot, meaning best in slot. This is the best shield. This is the best greaves, whatever.
Greaves. I love Greaves. This is very fun. Just this concept. I know we're gonna get into what we're talking about, but just this concept as video gaming is so funny because in these games, what is the gameplay? The gameplay is I need to make my guy perfect. And so the play space is well, you have all these options. Make your build, and it's actually no, you
I
cannot
need
have
these
options.
pants only.
Yes.
I have to build everything around these. So we started talking about how there are best in slot jokes.
And when it comes to a microphone being involved, the best in slot joke by far is the 30 Rock joke, where Tracy Jordan is developing a porno video game and is doing a voice acting, is doing the voiceover recording session with Jenna, and she makes her do an incredible amount of ridiculous porno vocalizations.
For years, basically, right?
Yeah, it's a long scene. I mean, it's long for a network sitcom. They can't get too crazy. It's not like an Adult Swim show where Smiling Friends had them be in the airport discussing what they're gonna do about a hotel for 15 minutes. But it's for a sitcom, especially for a snappy sitcom like 30 Rock. This is a long scene, and what happens at the end, Joe?
Tracy says, "Great. This time, let's record." So that joke is actually probably stopped content loss for us over the years, for sure. There's no way it hasn't, because I think about it all the time. It is also just like the funniest fucking, yeah, great. All right, now let's record.
This time, let's take it again. This time, let's record. Like, legitimate, that content loss thing is not a joke, because this episode, when we were doing cat talk, I had to stop in the middle of one of my sentences and like check Audacity because my eyes glanced over our list of best in slot jokes. I read "This time let's record" and I'm like, did I press the button? Did I? I did. Like, and again, this is one of the things about having the best in slot jokes on hand. This is why it's important that we tell them to you. Because you might be thinking, are they really about to describe a bunch of jokes to me for the next hour? Yes.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's our equipment. Like, we're showing you our gear.
Yes, and you can have it too, because what does this mean? It means that anytime we have a guest and we just finish up recording, what can we say? And the mood's great. Mood's always great because we're so funny and friendly and everyone loves us. How do we like end on a big hit and like the guest feels like it's special because like this isn't even on mic, this is just for me. We hit them with the, okay, now this time let's record. They love it every time.
Or they have a little heart attack.
Yes.
So this is like a reverse fruit tournament in the sense that we just tell you what it is, and if there was deliberation, we just tell you like, oh, the runner-up was blank, or we noodled on this for a bit. Case in point. Oh, sorry.
Before we move on, and we might cut this out if you don't remember. Do you recall telling me about an instance where some podcast did an entire guest episode? And they were like, all right, can you send me your track? And the guest was like, was I supposed to be recording?
Oh, God. Was that Ken Klippenstein? That might have been.
Oh, wait. Yes. No, I remember this. It was Ken Klippenstein who was just like, was that supposed to record?
But that was like the scariest tweet I ever read. That might as well have been the Manson murders. Like, it's so scary.
See, this is why people who go guesto on our podcast are always commenting like, wow, you have such like a thorough and professional process.
Yeah, because we heard one joke a long time ago and it has forever fucked us up.
It's like we don't want to assume that anyone knows that you're supposed to record. Like, you have like do you know that you're supposed to record? Like, we do not start until they say yes, I do know. God, I mean, it's overkill, but like everyone, if you ever start a podcast, people are like, well, some things you gotta know, and you're always gonna lose an episode every now and then. Sometimes you just can't recover.
Not if you remember the good joke, though.
Not if you remember the good joke. We're at 193. There are no Lost Anime Sickos episodes.
We are absolutely. I'm gonna live forever right now. You just really putting the blade up to our throat.
I knocked on wood. That makes it not hubris. The tree spirits can't hear me. They're too busy getting knocked on. They find it sexually exciting.
Let me open up with the next one. The next one, this was one of the earlier ones. For instance, that this is a type of joke. It is not unique. There are many versions of this. Me saying this will no doubt whip up certain things in your mind, but I had to think of the best one. And the joke is like when someone falls for too long, like obviously a rich vein. Mm-hmm. So for us, the best in slot is Hot Rod. And the reason it's Hot Rod is because obviously he falls for a very long time, but it's also at the end of a montage. So the whole timing of everything feels very, very confusing. It's just it's very whiplashy. He, of course, briefly falls through a cactus. And then the closest thing that came to that is Kung Pao when he's a baby and they like roll him. Like for a very long time, they're like, okay, baby, goodbye. And then he's just rolling down a hill for a long time as an infant. And then that woman is like, oh, cute baby. Yeah. And then she, okay, have a good one. And she keeps rolling him.
Very good. For me, this is a, I don't know if it's as common a joke format as falling too long, but it's fairly common when you get into a situation about dinosaur violence. When you need a dinosaur violence based joke, this is something that I put in one of our very first newsletters because I saw this somewhere and I couldn't believe it. Sometimes I go back and I'm like, man, look at our old writing. And I saw this, and it was like, again, it was like I was being born for the first time all over again. I couldn't believe it. It was brand new to me. Dinosaur violence joke. It is a picture, a drawing from what looks to be a textbook. Like, this is not a cartoon. This is realistic as far as we know. No dinosaur drawing is realistic because we don't know what they look like.
Or real.
And they're also not real. And this dinosaur is one of them dinosaurs that has a sort of big spike on its limb.
Dude, this fucker's got thumbs.
And with one hand, it grips another hapless dinosaur's neck, and with the other, it is driving this spike into the dinosaur. And there is the text on the image, "Talk dumb, get the thumb."
It's a very human kind of violence. I think that's what it is. The eyes have malice in them.
You can tell that this other dinosaur talked dumb.
And like this, the aggressor is like obviously like legit pissed.
It's like, you know how people say, like, I could look at this for hours. Like, oh, I could look at this painting for hours. And it's like, no, you couldn't. These days, with phones, you'd be pulling your phone out after 1 minute. Well, I can look at this on my phone. So I can tell you, I can just have, like, an exciting half hour just looking at Talk Dumb, Get the Thumb. Like, running, like, rewinding the tape in my head of, like, imagining the situation. Like, let's go back to the beginning. Talk Dumb, Get the Thumb. Look at these two dinosaurs. What? He's talking dumb. He gets the thumb. I love it. I can't. I want to pull it up right now.
I've been looking at it.
What?
Yeah.
Put it in the chat.
You can just search Talk Dumb and you will get it.
Talk Dumb, Get the Thumb. There's someone who has a song called Talk Dumb, Get the Thumb. That better be good.
One of the hits on this is just "are funny," and I'm a basic bitch. I don't care that the stabbing thumb dinosaur appeared on "are funny." I'm not better than that.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of growing up, isn't it?
No.
Oh my god. All right, Joe, what's the next best in slot joke? Give me one.
This is just funniest wizard.
Okay.
We're going to give it to our boy Orpheus, or I am. Do you agree that Orpheus is the funniest
Dr.
wizard?
Orpheus.
Dr. Orpheus.
Respect on his name. He went to wizard medical school. Dr. Orpheus obviously is the funniest wizard. And that's easy for him to get there because he's from Venture Brothers. Like, Venture Brothers is one of the funniest shows of all fucking time. Almost everything from Venture Brothers is the best in slot of that.
Yeah, there's quite a few best in slots that we're probably not going to say because it's too Venture Bros heavy. Like, it's weighted.
Okay, so we had that sort of thought, like, oh, our best in slot list is it's a little lopsided because it lays too heavily on Simpsons, 30 Rock, and Venture Brothers. And it's like, well, that's not our fault. Like, we're not the ones who decided to put all the best jokes in the universe into those shows.
That's true.
Like, that someone else did that. Speaking of Venture Brothers, this one you put down, and I really have to agree with you. And it's the best in slot for "oh, I thought you said" jokes, which are kind of hacky because, like, it's just it's such a cheap. Can you get me fish for dinner? Like, I thought you said get me a dish for dinner. And it's like, now we don't have anything to eat. But it's just like
really
it's just
hacky
rhymes.
shit. It is rhymes. It is rhyming. So that said, the structure itself, you're like in the negative, right? Like, you're already in the hole if that's the structure of the goof. Unfortunately, going to give it to Venture Brothers again. This is when the Venture Brothers family is trapped in that room with the spikes that are going to squish them, and
the mummy cult has them. Yeah,
and then the mummy cult is like, and now we're going to burn them with hot oil, and the other one's like, oil. Oh, I thought you said voil. And he's like, what's voil? Oh, it's like a sheer fabric. I've heated some up in the
dryer.
Yeah. I think that's what does it, is because it's like continuing the logic. Like he really did want to like do the task. Like, get me hot voil. Okay.
I mean, it also it's continuing a running gag of the mummy cult is doing mummy magic. Like, they did hatch the egg from which hatched Ra, and the perfect man came out. But at the same time, they're all dumbasses, which is classic Venture Brothers. I love it.
If we could continue on the Venture Bros thing, a character that is flawless and funny all the time, Shore Leave, mainly because he's like such a good duo. Like he plays well with everybody.
Yes.
So,
he's a unicorn in terms of generating duos, because usually in Venture Brothers the duos are sort of bespoke and cannot split and reform with other halves like that. But he is the unicorn. He makes a duo with everybody. I love Shore Leave.
So what is the best Shore Leave joke? I really didn't have a suggestion. Tom will put forth one that I agree with, but like off the top of my head, I just had like, I don't know, he says boom yummy. Like everything he says is funny.
That's okay. Boom yummy, I think, is his best line delivery, because it was right after he was putting on, it was when he was undercover as a Christian like youth leader due to he had to have spy cover, and there was something going on, and he had to put on his Bible armor, and he has to activate all the parts. He just like says what part of the armor is putting on.
Breastplate of righteousness.
And the best one is he just boots of the gospel. And then he, boom, yummy. Which the delivery on boots of the gospel, and it's like boots of the gospel. Incredible. Doc Hammer, one of the guys of all time. Anyway, the point being, best Shore Leave line. Brock and Shore Leave are doing a spy mission to stop a mad scientist named Dr. Shumpmaker. And he's like, I don't know what a shump is, but you can bet your sweet Bippy his ancestors made him.
It's just a good line. Also, I love it because it's like not helpful. Like nothing's added.
So good. So good. So good. God damn it. I will say that, okay.
We talk about duos and us on the Venture Brothers.
Oh yeah. Who's the best in slot duo with the criteria that it's us?
Yeah, who maps onto the sickos the best? Which Venture Brothers duo has the most sicko DNA? Tom and Joe. This one was very easy to me because it's Billy Quizboy and Pete White.
They're dumbasses. They play video games. They like TV shows. They like what else do you need? Oh, one of them is really
you pushed me too
into
far
music.
in podcasting. Like you sent me through the underground ring, and you feel obviously a sense of duty and responsibility forever. Yeah,
and there's a great Pete White line where he's trying to impress Triana, Dr. Orpheus's goth daughter, saying, I was the first at my college radio station to play the Bauhaus, which it's not it's just Bauhaus. So fucking good. Oh God, I love Billy and Pete White. Also, this is not on the list, but just like the best in slot joke that is very clearly the writer of the joke just had a bug up their ass about a funny sound and backfilled the setup, which is when, for whatever reason, Billy and Pete White got money. Like they lucked out and some of their science got sold and they were like briefly rich. And Pete White buys a robot version of Bo Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard. And he has him around. And the only reason this entire scenario was written is so that they could say over and over, Robo-Bo. Say it at home right now, folks. Like, Robo-Bo. Bo, bo, bo.
That's starting with the end in mind. It's like, I need to say this sound.
Best in slot to me. Okay, I'm going back to 30 Rock. This is where we started. Again, a hacky premise. So you're starting negative. So if it's positive, if the joke ends up positive, you can tell it was great because it had to overcome a big deficit, which is pronouncing a name wrong. I'm on record saying that I think these jokes are really stupid. I hate it especially. This is so fucking common and so lazy. If there's anything in the future, set in the future, I should say, and they reference someone from today in like a funny way, like they don't know, can you believe it? I recognize that from now. The lazy thing is to have them mispronounce the name of the famous person. Like, it seems as though these primitive people worship someone named Kim Kardashian. And it's like, no, if they're still talking English in the future, you would be able to pronounce Kardashian in your first try. You would. There was this terrible, there's this terrible independent play. I don't want to get into it, but it was some dumb shit. And it was this exact thing. People from the future looking at cultural artifacts of now. And it's like, it seems there was this strange priestess known as Lady Gaga. And it's like, no, you would still put the emphasis on the first syllable. Like, you would. Like, I can tell, because I've been listening to you two guys talking, and language has not changed that much in the intervening 1,000 years, that the rules of where emphasis goes would change. So you would read those letters and say Lady Gaga. Like, you would. I'm sorry, you fucking would. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The best in-slot joke about saying a name wrong is the therapist that NBC hires whenever there is someone who said something offensive and they have to go to therapy to learn how to be more woke. Liz looks at the therapist's name tag and says, "It's nice to see you, Mr. Wienerslav." And he says, "Oh, it's pronounced Wiener Slave."
Not only is it just a killer joke, but it also is a nice tie-in because Liz is like a German nerd.
Yes.
Like, there's tons of what cuts to her like traveling abroad and being just miserable.
Yeah, oh my god. No, it's not miserable. This is also a best in slot joke, but I don't know what the joke is. It cuts to her, like, she talks about having a wild time doing study abroad in Germany, and it cuts to her in a museum of stuffed birds. And she says, "So many different types of sparrows." She takes a big picture with a cartoon camera. Mr. Wiener Slave. It's so, because, like, again, it's like it's like we all have to be very respectful. We can't say slurs here. And he's like, no. It's Wiener Slave. Love it. Close second, I will say, also from 30 Rock. And this is the classic running joke of Liz is an insufferable white liberal who tries to be progressive but is so deeply reactionary. Which is funny because that's Tina Fey in real life.
Yeah.
She's at the post office. She's trying to be friendly and charming and, like, cool to the black postal worker. And she peers over the desk to look at this woman's name tag. And it's like, thanks for helping me, Trinae. And the woman, so fucking annoyed, just goes, Irene. Oh, that's good shit.
Okay, so we got best joke with the Pope. He's been trying out some material lately, I guess, himself. But we are talking in terms of TV and film, whatever.
Yeah.
So the best joke featuring the Pope, about the Pope, etc., is the state sketch where they are all very Italian American and they say, "Oh no, the Pope is coming over any moment for dinner
to our restaurant."
To our restaurant.
To be clear.
Good thing we made all this big spaghetti. Oh no, we gotta make sure our white clothes stay clean. Oh no, and they just they just fucking spill spaghetti for like 2 minutes. This was done like live in front of people, which is funny. And then when the Pope shows up and he sees everything completely messed up, he says, "Hey, I'm the Pope. It's okay. And then everybody cheers.
So sometimes physical comedy, it pays to have someone who can sell that this is like happening for real. Like I would say best in slot physical comedy as a baseline is Mr. Show, The Story of Everest, where this mountain climber comes home and is excited to tell his story of braving Mount Everest. But every time he tries to tell the story, he accidentally knocks these 2 shelves full of antique thimbles off of the wall. And part of why that's so funny is that the actor who was at January 6th...
I was wondering if, okay, cool, you got to it.
He, like... You buy it. Like every time he accidentally trips, slips, and knocks over those 2 shelves.
You feel for him. Like you think this is happening to him in like a biblical, like God is testing this person way. Like he does seem like a victim of the cosmos.
Yes. So there's that. But I like how in this sketch they do the exact opposite, which is like the first time that, I spilled the pasta sauce. Is like, oh, you like you just threw it at them as hard as you can. Yes. Like you just took the pot and instead of like putting a ladle of sauce on the spaghetti, you just like threw the entire pot on to fucking Michael Showalter.
They keep bringing up that they're making a mess and they're wearing all white. Like it's just looking at you as you know, this is the, can you take my son's getting over tragedy cake? Like, I mean, like, it's exactly what it looks like, and they're delivering it to you while smiling, and it's wonderful.
So good. So here's something that comes up a lot. A lot of times in fiction, you need to reference other works, but you don't want to make like a reference to another real show or a real thing because that distracts the viewer. They're going to be thinking about that. Why aren't I watching that instead?
God forbid the thing you're referencing is much, much better, and then that's going to just make you look like a dope.
Yeah, so that's why you got to make up some fake stuff. Make up a fake movie, make up a fake game. That way, the viewer gets the idea of, I know, I get it. We're talking about like another movie. Like that's close to something I recognize, but it's far enough away that I'm not distracted. I get it. The best fake thing in any media, fake media in media. It's going to be JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, the Super Nintendo video game called That's a Baseball.
Having the first word in your game title be with the comma is so sick. That's a baseball. And the stand was, that guy was like, my stand is really good at video games, so I challenge you to video games. Was that it?
It was under the effect of like, if I beat you in a video game, you turn into like a doll, and then I put you in my dolly bin. So you just have to beat him at video games. It's whatever.
That's a baseball.
That's a baseball. And it's so fucking funny because one, it is a Japanese voice actor who does not know English being told you have to say this English line. And you can tell that in the booth, he's like, is someone going to give me a pronunciation guide?
Yeah, what's the emphasis here? And they're like, whatever you think.
Doesn't matter. Who cares?
It's actually. You got to hit the O.
Man, the enunciation is incredible. And also the emphasis where it really does sound like this announcer for this Super Nintendo video game is like, I'm going to look at this thing and it could be anything. That's a baseball. Like,
yeah, it's less about sports and more about identifying.
Yeah, this is like, you know what? Ivan's first birthday, I'm getting him, that's a baseball. It's a video game where you look at various household items and you have to name what they are. And this is helpful for brain formation. You know, this is basic stuff that everyone needs to know. It's like shapes and colors. That's a triangle. That's a baseball. I love it. Fuck. God damn it. This is all so stupid.
Well, I will continue. I have a stupid thing that's always on my mind. First, it's Nen. I'm always thinking about Nen, but specifically the best in slot, like funniest Nen ability But you better believe it's when you can manifest and switch places with an ape. That's just the best stuff. The dodgeball sequence in Greed Island, is that what it is? I think.
Yes.
It's such a cool ability. I don't like. So what's cool is like, yes, your Nen awakens in different ways, but you do curate sort of like how it takes shape.
Yeah, like you have an innate category, but you determine the specifics of your ability in that category through training and will.
Yeah, he did that, and that was the output, which is so funny. Because sometimes you need to... I'm in a lot of situations that I need to not be in. Furthermore, where I was needs to be an 8.
It's so fucking fun. Okay, do you remember in Jujutsu Kaisen, there's this guy who's horny for asses, and his power is that it's that he can switch places with stuff, and like that's kind of, it makes for a fun, battle because he's always changing tactically where he is. And like he does it by clapping. He claps and poof, he's like swapped places with something. So you never know where he's at. He can dodge anything easily. It takes a real genius brain to be like, that ability, what if we put a couple of apes in the mix?
Like, yeah, because you would want to summon a few apes. Like, yeah.
It's like, do you have to have apes around? Like, no. You can bring your own ape. You can just make it. Poof, you'd have an ape. See, okay, here's another thing that's really good about Hunter x Hunter, which is Nen is like the best power system in any sort of shonen.
It's because there's enough structure where like there's rules and things can get made, and you're like, okay, stuff is being made according to like some sort of like guiding principle, but there's also like enough wiggle room where you can get nutty with it, and like it's not like a pedantic like hard sci-fi like actually thing, because you just if you don't know which one it is, guess what, it's a specialist, because the specialist is the goofer one.
It's so good. It's like it gives the lore-brained power scalers enough to work with, because there are an incredible, like the sheer number of rules is so high that if you want to just like get into the weeds and like think about like the implications of these rules,
made worse by the fact that in universe, like if you limit your power intentionally, that also makes you stronger. Like if you're like, I will produce chains that do insane damage to these specific guys.
Like to 12. There are 12 guys in the world who I can make chains come out and they will kill them effortlessly. But literally anyone else in the world, if I even think about using those chains on them, my head's gonna pop and I'll die.
Yeah. So it's rules, and then you can limit further.
That's perfect. It's perfect because it prevents there from being like perfect power scaling, where people try to do this with One Piece, but like, well, actually, if you look at the feats, Luffy can solo anybody. It's simply the facts, and it's like, I don't care. But like you can have shit that breaks the curve with Nen. And it's like, is this guy the strongest guy in the world? Like, no, because it only got that strong because the stupid criteria to activate the power is so nonsense silly. It's like hilarious how hard it is to activate this criteria. But like, then if you do it, like the fucking guy, the lion with fucking basketball shorts who has an iPod.
He works for Pitchfork.
And his like thing is, he has to save someone's life, and they have to say to him, I owe you one, or some variation thereof. And once he is owed one, he is then at any time allowed to steal their Nen ability for 1 hour, after which the owing is cleared and they do not owe him one anymore. And like
do you see how lightning is just better? There's just a lot less logistical spin up.
Like, he has to be going out saving people's lives all the time. Anyway,
he's a bad guy, for the record.
He's a bad guy. He's wearing basketball shorts. What was I talking about? Oh, I love how Hunter x Hunter has all this nonsense. It is the best power system. It's great. And it has cool abilities like apes that can swap places with you. Make an ape, and it's like, I'd like to be where that ape is. Poo-poo. And not an ape's where you were. Apes. And yet, the actual like structure of the stories and the plot in Hunter x Hunter is such that like you never ever get to see any of this actually get used in any of the situations that you would like to see them get used in. Case in point, when do we see the ape man playing dodgeball
For his life.
It's so fucking fun. Like, it's so goddamn funny. Dodgeball. You know. Actually, you ever have that feeling playing a JRPG where you have like a cool spell or ability, but you get that sinking feeling that's like, I'm like literally never gonna pick this. Like, what are the chances there's going to be a scenario where this is the thing to pick? And if I am in that scenario, I won't realize that, oh, I should use this crazy edge case spell. I'm just going to use fucking big fire boom boom like I always do. And you get that sinking feeling of like, I got all this cool stuff at my disposal, but it'll never have a chance to shine. That's Hunter x Hunter all the time on purpose.
Obviously, there's still a ton of net and stuff, but it does also feels like it's never letting it run wild because it's just kind of there. Like it's not the main thing.
Yeah. It's like it feels lived in. It feels real because like how often are you going to have your specific power be the best in the world? Although I say that, and I think a best in slot joke for page turn in any sort, it has to be in a graphic medium with sequential art. The best in slot page turn joke where there is a big wind up and you turn the page and there's a visual punchline is when in One Piece,
yes, I know
the arc with the zappy man, a guy who has the lightning fruit, and he can turn into lightning and shoot lightning anywhere. His entire life, he has been essentially a god because he can just use lightning to delete anyone at any time. If someone bugs him, they're getting hit by lightning. And like all One Piece arcs, there is some stupid fucking reason why Luffy is not standing in front of the bad guy, because if he was, he'd be punching him.
Right, he got off the bus at the wrong stop.
Luffy has been trying to stand in front of this guy for fucking ever. For like 100 chapters, Luffy is like, can I please stand in front of the lightning guy? The lightning guy, again, has never, ever felt threatened in his entire life. And finally, Luffy gets in front of the lightning guy. The lightning guy hits Luffy with lightning. You may recall that Luffy is a rubber man. What does rubber do when it gets hit by lightning? Fucking nothing. You turn the page and there is a full spread of the goofiest face of utter terror on this badass villain's face. And it's just like, I don't even need to see the end of the fight.
And it's
like,
so earned, right? Like it's like here, like it's a very slow build up. You know it's happening. Rubber lightning. Like it's not like a gotcha.
It's and it really just hits perfect. I love that.
Best scene where people buy drugs. You did not watch this one with me. This is, I think, in the second episode of Stella. But it's in Stella. In the first episode, after they are kicked out of their apartment for not paying their rent, they return as business tycoons. And before they do that plan, they were like, hey, Michael, do you still have that friend that sells fake mustaches?
Who, Gary Meadows?
Yeah, I don't see why that's important. Yeah, just trust me. So in episode 2, they do it again, but they show them going to Gary Meadows, and it's a drug den. It's scary. It's so scary. Everyone's Sam Rockwell is Gary Meadows. He's the scary drug dealer. There's like women like passed out with fake mustaches everywhere, and then there's when they go to buy it, he's like, okay, follow me. And they go to this drawer and they open the top drawer. He's like, turn around, fucking turn around. And then he gives them the 3 mustaches and they're like, thank you. And of course, there's a callback. The last joke in the show is they're all hanging out again. The action has passed. And he's like, Gary, that's a nice stash you're sporting. Is that your own product? And he's like, no, I don't use my own stuff. This is homegrown. And he's like, bullshit. And he rips it off his face and blood goes everywhere. And then David Wayne says, "I've heard of a Bloody Mary, but not a Bloody Gary." And then, like, as he's like bleeding and in pain, and then it just ends.
God damn, that's good. Jesus Christ.
And let's continue the same type of subject matter with basically the same people. Best joke where people do drugs.
Yeah, so that was like a joke about like
acquiring it.
Yeah. It's doing drugs.
I'm gonna give it to Wet Hot American Summer, where all the camp counselors go into town for an hour, and they all get hooked on heroin, and like it's like this montage. It's like very intense, and then they're leaving. They're like, "Oh, it's great to get away just for an hour." It's fucking perfect.
I mean, it's such an easy joke. It's like the cities. I mean, it's what if all the Fox News people were right? What if the city really is like a hell?
Yeah, any place more than 1,000 people is this.
Mm-hmm. It's so fucking good. I mean, as long as we're talking about the Wet Hot American Summer people, the Stella people, they're from The State, which is a sketch show from the 90s. Sketch show from the 90s? Talking about Mr. Show. We've transitioned to them now. The best joke about a white boy stuns everyone by flawlessly rapping. Like the best joke about someone rapping so well and no one can believe that they're rapping, wow, is when the Buddhist monks have to beat the kids at the fat camp across the lake at various activities.
It's like a company picnic for campers.
Yes, and it's all tied up. And the last event is freestyle rapping, and the rich kids at the fat camp have hired a ringer, an actual rapper, and he's doing a real freestyle rap, and the Buddhist monks are devastated because how the hell are they ever going to stand up to this? And they tell Bob Odenkirk, one of the monks, like, no, you believe in yourself, you can do it, I really believe in you. And he goes up, he has the mic, and he just goes rap, 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 a rippy rap, a rippy rap, rap, a rippy ribbity rap, rap, rippy rap, 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 and everyone
is blown away. They can't handle it. Like, he's so fucking good. The other rapper,
he looks devastated. He's like, "What did I even like? What's my life for?"
His rhymes are so tight, I think is the line he says.
Rippy rap, rippy rap, rap, rap.
Mr. Show's thing, if you know the show already, like this is known information, but in case you're not familiar, they're really big on like transitions. Like they love to do really goofy transitions between sketches, making like weird connections.
It's never like sketch ends, totally new sketch begins. There's always a connection.
Of all the Mr. Show transitions, I think the best one is in this same episode, which is when David Cross becomes the Dalai Lama, and then that scene sort of ends, and the transition is just basically like, as you know, we have to get ready for the face-off with the fat kids across the lake. Like, and they just pull down like a projector and just start the plan. Just flawless.
So goddamn good. I mean, as long as we're on Mr. Show, you wouldn't think that this slot really has a lot of room for excellence. When I tell you what type of joke this is the best in slot in, you'll be like, people gonna make these jokes? The funniest fake redneck name. Context being, NASA has decided they're gonna blow up the moon. And a country star, in the style of Toby Keith, back when he did that, like, I'll put a boat in your ass, Taliban, we're gonna do war. Remember that song?
Yeah.
So it's your like boneheaded, like dumbass Republican, like hillbilly redneck, like shitty ass country, like the real dregs of the stuff. And that song is of course about fuck you the moon, we're gonna kill you the moon. We're gonna like the moon's we hate the moon. America will blow up the moon. The name of this country music singer is C.S. Lewis Jr.
They were cooking. They were simply cooking.
Just again, talk about like this. This is the key to lore being used well. It's when you drop something and just its presence suggests a rich world with long histories. And you don't need to sit down and tell everybody all the details of the history. The fact that there is something behind it that you, the listener, the viewer, can explore yourself is so rich. And it's like, the mid-century author C.S. Lewis, who loved Christianity and being British. Like, what if he had a son named C.S. Lewis Jr. that's doing this shit? The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Remember that? Well, he's C.S. Lewis Jr.
That makes sense, because, the Dune guy had his son continue it.
It's true. Everyone hates it. God damn. Here's also a good one. This is the best in slot for, and there's not really a lot of opportunities for this. But, where you have it, this is the best one. The best in slot for having 3 jokes that are used all the time, even today, that all came from the same Simpsons episode that Matt Groening publicly disavowed as being artistically hollow and a betrayal of the show as a whole. I'm talking about the episode where Jay Sherman from The Critic was on, and the following jokes are all from that, which again, Mark Groening disavowed. He's like, I refuse to put my name on this episode. It's a travesty.
Did he just hate The Critic?
He thought it was a shameless advertisement. This was not art. This was not the show I want to make. This is a corporate mandated commercial. How dare you make us do this? And in that corporate mandated commercial, we have, I said the loud part quiet and the quiet part loud, which again, everyone's like, that's like
it's a part of our language. Yes.
The New York Times says, like, Trump said the quiet part loud. I was saying boo earns.
Mm-hmm. It's like a non-joke in the sense that, like, it's just, if booing is happening, you think it.
Yeah. And get me his non-union Mexican equivalent, which anytime you need a cheaper version of something, non-union Mexican equivalent, all from the same episode. Can you believe that? What an episode.
That he didn't like.
Well, that motherfucker was on the Epstein plane, and the people who were on it said his feet were weird, and he was a foot guy. So, oh well.
Can we close out with just a cultural gem that I showed you forever ago, and I love any excuse to talk about?
Yes, you can, because this is truly one of the most astonishing pieces of film that I've ever seen. When you showed it to me, I couldn't believe it was real.
So this is the best joke about ska. You might think, is this recent? This best joke about ska that you have in mind? Fucking no.
No.
Not at all. So what we're about to play is a clip from Police Squad, which was a short TV series that then led to the Naked Gun series. So the thing about this show is that it's like all fucking runners. Like, it's great, don't misunderstand me. But one of the runners is that there is like a newsboy who has all the information ever. Like, and characters are always coming up to him being like, Johnny,
Give me the scoop.
Give me the scoop on whatever. I mean, this happens at least once, if not twice, an episode. So we're just going to play this fucking clip with Dick Clark.
Johnny, some kids on the show yesterday mentioned a new kind of music, ska. You know anything about it?
How should I know? Nothing but a modern offshoot of reggae. Updated white rock influences. Definitely upbeat. It'll never become really popular because even though they've made the backbeat more conventional, it's still too exotic for mass acceptance.
Johnny, I need some more of that secret formula youth cream. Thanks.
Dick Clark is just absolutely lathering the cream on his head. Okay. Yeah. That scene is one of my treasured baubles.
This is like I'm good. I've been watching Smiling Friends because I mean everyone's watching Smiling Friends lately, and like I'm deep in the tank for Smiling Friends. Smiling Friends is great, and I agree with what people say. It's like it's the new thing. It's taking adult animation, comedy animation in a new direction. It's long overdue. Great writing. It's such a unique voice. This scene with Dick, Clark, and Johnny could be from a Smiling Friends that comes out like this week.
Yeah, and it's 30 plus years old. It's funny because
40.
40. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I mean, he's right about ska. Like he's on the like.
That's the thing. He's fucking spitting fire. There is nothing untrue being said. I don't disagree with his assessment about why it was never. I would like to know how he felt about the Nickelodeon era third wave ska when like every sort of bumper was Real Big Fish-esque. I wonder if he would change his opinion.
Well, I mean, let's think about it.
Well, they're not around now, though.
The wave crashed, and who was the most successful ska band in terms of pure numbers? That's going to be no doubt who immediately pivoted to standard pop rock whenever they could. And I mean, to their benefit, they sold a ton of records, made a bunch of classic songs, but it's not like you're going to listen to Don't Speak and you're going to be like skanking on the 2 and 4.
There were so many No Doubt songs on the rotation when I worked at Kohl's. It was very strange.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope you like this. I mean, on one hand, I do sort of understand the flaw in a podcast episode where we just describe other people's jokes to you and go, "Wow, what a good joke!" But at the same time, like this is what our lives are about. Like this is what's going on in our heads. Like this is our life.
This is our blood.
This is what we get up in the morning for. When we think about like what is life really all about, because that's something that people think about Anime Sickos podcast. They're like, you guys are like philosophizers. You guys really make me understand,
which we're not.
You make us understand, this world that we're in better by like defining it a little more clearly in a way that like now that I know,
that's more of a failure of education than like us being good.
But yes, I agree with that. But if you are one of those people, if you had thought that thought, well, like this is just more of that.
Watch Police Squad. Download it. I don't know. It's probably on Tubi or some shit. I don't know.
It's so funny that like it was like if you read about it, it's like it was canceled because at the time like TV watchers didn't get
no one got
TV
this.
Was supposed to be
like
funny.
The quotes are so disheartening. It's just like, oh, I didn't know there were jokes.
Even
That's
though
weird.
they made the beat more conventional, it's still too exotic to get mainstream success. I love it. There's some people in the comments who are like, actually, it's not an offshoot of reggae. It's an offshoot of calypso. And it's like, kill yourself. Fuck you. Shut up.
Do not besmirch the sacred text.
That's all the time we have for Anime Sickos. I hope you liked that one. I sure had a lot of fun. I don't know if you did. We did.
I did. I got to just think of the best categories of stupid things.
Yeah, you know what? You get think of your own best of slot jokes and fucking post them and tag us. This is like what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to like ask for engagement. It only took me like 4 years. I figured it out. Anyway, that's all the time. Bye bye. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I've been Joe, an Anime Sicko. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.